first of all, I should introduce myself, I think. So, hi everyone, I am Kshitija and I am from Womenite. We are an organization, we are a non-profit organization and we work for child sexual abuse, gender equality. Our main goal is to create a equality in a society where there's so much biasness, right? So right now we are having a campaign which started on the 1st of May, which is End Period Poverty. In this campaign, we are trying to distribute 1 lakh sanitary napkins to people or to women who do not have access to it. Right. And due to this corona situation, it has gotten even worse. So we're just trying to do our bit and help people around.
I think that's
Yeah.
great. I follow a lot of the stuff that you guys talk about, and it's just really nice that you're using, because I think it's kind of the era and the generation now where even though you have like an NGO, it's very important to have like a social presence online so that more people can
Yeah.
what you're doing and what you're sort of investing in. Like even the paths that you're doing, is that just for May, or do you usually?
No. It's not just for May. It's like we were planning on doing a campaign like this for a long time, but during this COVID situation, we were distributing food packets, and we got to know that the situation for sanitary napkins is even worse. Because,
apparently wasn't
yeah, because
essential, and like schools shut down, so kids weren't getting
right,
anymore.
and women can't talk about it. It's a taboo for them, so they don't have access to it.
Yeah.
So we thought we need to do something about it, and hence this campaign just started.
How many have you?
And I'd like to,
giving 1 lakh.
yeah, we are giving 1 lakh. We have crossed 25,000, over 25,000 actually. I can't share the accurate numbers, but yeah, we have partnered with Anganwadi, Mahila Gram Panchayat, various schools and colleges, and DCW as well. Because of the COVID situation, the distribution is a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But we are doing our bit, and we will help anyone in need. So yeah.
That's so.
So
have you also teamed up with like, I don't know, a brand, or are you doing the washable ones, the reusable ones? What are you doing? What kind of?
We are doing biodegradable ones. We haven't partnered with any brands, but we are distributing biodegradable pads, right? And people often ask us why. Yeah, no, we do not buy them. We work with an organization, and they make biodegradable pads, and we buy it from them and we distribute, right? So people often ask us, why are we not distributing cups, right? But my simple answer is, the women we are targeting right now, first of all, they feel that cups are a taboo.
Yeah.
And for the situation for right now, we want to make things easier for them.
Yeah.
We would love to do like distribute tampons and cups, but for that we need workshops, which because of the COVID situation we cannot. So we are distributing pads.
That's exactly what I said when I was working with an organization where we were distributing pads to underprivileged women.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were it's great that you're doing biodegradable, but like this was I think 2 years ago, and a lot of people were like, why aren't you doing biodegradable ones? And at the time it was really important to sort of create awareness and get people to come on board with actually using pads in the first place, and then to
right.
It's one of those things where there's only that many things you can bombard them with, like, hey,
Right.
pad, but also be careful of the environment and do it in a particular way. Like, I think people just lose interest. So for us, the main thing was we need to start using sanitary napkins, and then talk to them about keeping the environment free, and also having like sort of maybe doing tampons or doing cups. I mean, I have a cup, but I'm still not comfortable using it. I've not been able to get the hang of it yet. If I'm home, it's fine, but if I'm out and stuff, I find it really hard to use the cup. So to expect someone to just suddenly get into like tampons and biodegradable stuff, I mean, I think it should be baby steps.
Right, exactly. And like, I have been a fan of yours since Girls on Top, and you've constantly been breaking the myths about women, and you are a feminist, and I think many people have a wrong idea about what feminism is. So according to you, if you could just tell it in one line, one simple sentence, what is feminism?
One sentence. That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, just
I think the most
simple.
simplistic way to put feminism would be anyone that thinks women deserve equal rights to men.
Right.
Of course, there are layers and layers. If it goes into human rights, it goes into men rights, it goes into a lot of things. But I think the base thing is
Yeah.
that women who haven't had the same rights, like, do they deserve to live the same way as men do right now? And if you think that,
Yeah.
because you can't. I hate when people try to club too many things into like one label. I mean, yes, feminism isn't on a very basic level. That we're not saying that let's save men, let's save animals, let's save humans, let's save everyone. We're saying that women have been
Right.
for a very, very long time, and it's about time that we at least, like, if we're here and men are here, like, we want to be on the same level. So I think anyone, because I remember when I
Exactly.
met Rahul for the first time, and we used to talk about this, and I have like a lot of friends who don't associate themselves as feminists. They're like, I don't know if I can call myself a feminist because I'm not doing anything for women. And that's where I try to tell everyone that you don't have to be like an activist to be a feminist. Like, you don't have to be doing it all
Yeah.
the time. If you, as just an individual, think that women have been suppressed and they should have all the rights that men have, then you're a feminist. Like, you're literally a feminist, whether you call yourself one or not.
Yeah. And exactly what happens is you have been in the wrong for such a long time that you feel that is the normal thing.
Yeah.
And when the right things happen, you're like, what? Is this how it is supposed to be?
Exactly. I think that's one. We were listening to a very interesting podcast that spoke about this, that asking, men to, or men and even women in society to accept that
Yeah.
women have been suppressed and deserve a better way of life would mean that you're actually asking all of these people to acknowledge the fact that they've been doing something wrong their whole life. The way that
Right.
they've been living is wrong, and that's a really jarring and confronting thing to do. Like, if someone came to me today and said that the way you've been living your whole life has not been nice towards other people, I would probably be really offended. I try to defend myself. I'd be like, that's
Right.
not true. You're wrong, because you're trying to tell me that everything I've done has been wrong in a way. So I understand why people
Yeah.
struggle with accepting that, the way we've been treating women is wrong, because it is a threat. It's an attack at how you've lived your life. But
Exactly.
start with accepting the fact that we have been suppressing women. I mean, there's so many people who are like, I'm a feminist, but I'm the kind of feminist that where I think we should help women in villages. We should know, what is this whole like panty bra nonsense? Like, like,
Yeah.
the focus on like educating women instead of just telling women to get naked. But the whole idea is that you can't pick and choose the things you care about and pick, the things that you're like, oh no, women shouldn't be allowed to do this. If one
Right.
wants to, like, I think if someone wants to wear a headscarf, let them. And if someone wants to be topless, let them. The whole point is that women should have the choice, to decide for themselves. I think very often, a lot of like modern age women also forget that, where we try to tell women, they shouldn't be covering their heads and they shouldn't be wearing salwar kameez and they shouldn't be doing certain things
Right.
because we think it oppresses them. But that's a choice they should be allowed to make. Trying to make them into the
Right. Right.
that we are is going against the idea of feminism, because you're again deciding for them.
Right. So coming back to periods, I saw your story, I believe, right? So I was just very intrigued. I wanted to know how was your first time like, was first period. So did you know about it, like something like menstruation happens, you were aware, or you got to know after it happened?
No, I was very lucky that I knew about it, and I'd actually found my mother's pads once, and I used to just wear them around the house, for no reason, just to see what it would feel like when I would get them. So even like way before I got my period, I would just put them on my underwear and like sit around and be like, this is really uncomfortable and I don't know if I want this. However, like, no matter how much people try to prepare you, the first time is still really, really uncertain and scary. I remember
But the problem, yeah,
when I got mine,
you remember?
I was obviously I had to come straight back from school. and I was really scared, and I was bleeding, and I was in the toilet. And this one thing that my mom did, like, I don't think I understood it back then, but it makes so much sense now. She asked my brother to go get the pads from the chemist, and she told him, like, she basically told him what he was getting, why he was getting it, and why it was important for him to get them every time, you know, that something like this happened.
Yeah.
And that really made a difference in our relationship. I mean, as I grew up, I think, like, while I was in like 8th, 9th, 10th standard, every time I had my periods, like, my brother just knew, like, he had like a calendar, and he knew when I was when I, like, my monthly date was. He would usually buy me flowers or like pick me up from school and drop me.
Oh,
Really sweet when I had them.
that is.
And that's all because my mom sort of like made sure that he was aware that, look, your sister has a period now, and this is what happens, and you have to. I remember a lot of times I would just make sure that I send him to get me pads, because he would just pick up like the most expensive ones from the supermarket just because he wanted to be really nice.
I know, and the problem with India is little girls are not aware about it because they are not taught in schools. The chapter is hushed over. It's rushed, and mothers don't talk about it. So it's a trauma when it comes for the first time.
Yeah, and we
Like I remember
the
for
ones
my
that do educate their daughters, I don't think they're educating
yeah
sons, because you feel like this is a girl problem. You know, I've heard a lot of girls say that as well. Like, oh, it's a chick thing. Like, you know, girl. I don't, it's a weird term that some women use. Um, I'm not sure what it is, but it's like a slang for the girl time of the month, and like how it's something that women need to be aware of, but like keep the men out of it.
yeah
Men don't need to do. It's a girl talk. But men need to
right
know about periods just as like as much as women need to know about periods.
right. Like we recently did a series in which we asked men to talk about periods, right? So because there's such a big taboo about men talking about periods, men are not supposed to know about periods. So why do you think that is? And yeah, literally, why do you think that is a thing in India?
I think that's actually not a thing just in India. I think that's quite like, I remember growing up and, you know, a lot of kids being like, ew, blood, like, you know, and I was in Australia.
Yeah,
And a lot of kids are just like, period. Like, it used to gross them out. It wasn't as hush hush as it is in India, but it definitely grossed
yeah,
boys out. There's always conversations about, I don't know, you know how Rupi Kaur's post went off of Instagram as well. Instagram had deleted it.
yeah.
And that was
Yes,
years ago. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that we're not educating our boys about these things. I mean, if I knew nothing about periods, like, and it happened to men, you know, if men were like bleeding from their dicks every month and I had no idea why, I think I'd be pretty like creeped out the first time like I saw it. I'd be like, what
right,
the fuck is happening? Why is this man bleeding? So I think it's very natural
right.
for people to feel grossed out, or feel like, you know, they don't want anything to do with something that they don't know anything about. Like, apparently periods also are seen as such a taboo because they think that, you know, women are sort of like, no one understands what's happening to women when they have their periods. They're either untouchable, or they're under like a spell, or some people think that they're, you know, sick. And that's all like a lack of
Yeah,
education. I mean, I don't see why we're not educating young boys about periods. It's something that happens every month. I mean, especially if you're, you know, sexually involved with someone, you want her to get her periods every month. I mean, this is something
right.
we're talking about.
Right, like it comes to the fact that somewhere females and parents are responsible for this taboo that has been created around periods, right?
Yeah.
Because if men are not talking about it, we need to do. We need to start talking about it. We need to make it normal.
Yeah, even as a society. I mean, like, that's what I said in my post as well, that why do, I mean, I only put that up so when it happened, the post that I put up about the period, when it happened, I was in Barcelona, and I took that photo to send to Rahul because I was in the toilet and I was just like, fuck, I don't know, like, I'm bleeding so much and I don't know what to do. I was feeling really sick. And it makes you think about how, like, you know, all the period ads and everything that we see, like, the blood is blue. Like, women don't have blue blood. Like, why
Right,
do we?
right,
It's just so that people don't feel grossed out. But I don't think there is anything gross about just women bleeding. I mean, it happens every month. It happens to everyone, you know, and the sooner we normalize it, the better it would be, which is why I chose like a photo that was very confronting because it was just blood on an underwear.
Yeah.
But that's what happens, and it happens when you're least expecting it. Like, you know, I wake up ready to go to work and suddenly I'll have like a stain on my bed sheet, and that's just, it's
Right.
real that if men aren't ready for it, like, you know, your mothers could hide it from you, your sisters could, but when you're married to someone or you're living with someone, you are going to see period blood at some point or the other. You're going to be
Right.
confronted with this, and in that moment, if you're not ready, I mean, not only are you going to be ignorant, but you're making other people's lives hard as well, because you're going to have daughters, and you know, you're going to have people,
Yeah.
women around you that need you to be mentally aware and sort of have enough information about this, because I mean, it also affects our hormones, it affects our mood swings, you're in physical pain, and if the men around you don't know what's going on, then as a society, we're not really functional.
Right. So, like, if you got to tell one thing to all the male audience right now about periods, what would you tell?
Just about periods?
Yeah, about periods. Like, they don't know how to behave around it.
They happen every month. I think one of the thing that I tell every child these days, like, you know, everyone growing up in this generation, because I think it's really important, because I think a lot of kids that are growing up forget very easily that they have something called the internet at their disposal. And, you know, we use it for everything. We use it for porn. We use it to watch movies, shows, to stalk people. Like we use the internet for everything. But we're not using the internet to educate ourselves all the time. Like if someone's not educating you about periods, you can do it yourself, you know. If you're a guy on this live chat right now and you don't know enough about periods, look it up on the internet. That's what Google is for. You don't have to pay, you don't have to embarrass yourself from asking anyone. Like when I was a kid, I had to ask someone what masturbation meant, and my family, being my family, made a joke out of it where they made me ask each and every person, because they were like, oh, I don't know, ask mom. And then my mom was like, ask your brother. And then my brother was like, ask your mommy. So I just went around making a fool out of myself, being like, what's masturbation? You don't have to do that to yourself anymore. You can just Google more about, you know, women and menstrual cycles and periods and period pain and different kinds of hormonal imbalance that women go through. Yeah, if you're a guy, I think please do us and yourselves and everyone a favor and just research a little, get to know a little more. If you have women in your life that you're comfortable with, ask them questions about their periods.
Right. And if sanitary napkins, pad, blood, uterus, or any of these words make you cringe, you need to change your thought process a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
There's nothing, I think I think the other problem is that we only talk about just the blood. We're not talking about the process of bleeding. Why it happens, why it's necessary for it to happen, why, you know, every month women are bleeding. Like if you're not looking at it from like a foundation level, if you're not seeing the process of why women's bodies are changing all the time and why, you know, they stop bleeding for 9 months when you're pregnant, I think all of that, like, at the end of the day, it's just biology and it shouldn't be grossing you out. I think the blood is as good as like scraping your knee.
Yeah. So what happens is so what happens in India, this biology chapter of reproduction in most schools is hushed over. So you are not taught about it, or when it's taught, you're laughing, or it's like it is made a whole thing that you're not supposed to study about it. I don't know why this is, but that is the thing, and that is where the problem starts.
In many schools, they actually take like the girls to a different room and sort of like show the girls, teach them about it, but they don't tell boys because boys don't need to know.
Yeah, but I think we need to educate our men about periods too.
Yeah,
because they need to know.
Yeah, my brother.
Right. So
sorry, I'm going to say hi to my brother.
So let's play a game about what all myths and taboos you've. Yeah, it's not. It's a very simple game. Like what all myths and taboos you've heard about periods, right? So have you heard about any myths or any taboos related to periods?
Women get like untouchable.
Yeah,
You can't.
that is a popular one.
That's a very popular one. I know like friends who, told me about like neighbors and like women in their society who aren't allowed to touch the fridge or sleep on the same bed or do anything, like even enter the kitchen that for those days.
Exactly.
Scary.
The another popular myth is if you cook or if you touch the food during your periods, it's contaminated.
Or if you touch tulsi,
So
it
imagine.
dies. I've heard that as well.
Yeah. You touch a tree and it dies. Yeah, and it's so stupid. Like, how could it die? Have you
Maybe
ever
it's the
thought
reason
about
for
it?
the environment going back.
Yeah. And then there's other.
There's one more
Yeah.
that I think people need to know about, that if a girl's on her period and you're having sex, she will not get pregnant. That's not true.
Not true at all.
Chances might be less or whatever, but that is absolutely not true. And also,
Yeah.
just that I heard someone, this is really stupid, but I heard this girl once ask me, because she was just like, my boyfriend thinks that, if we do it while I'm on my period, then he will probably get my period too. That's a myth. You are not
That is
not getting period just because you have sex with someone who has periods. Like that.
yeah, that's ignorant, and he needs to learn some biology, I guess.
I mean, if that is
Yeah.
true, I would probably go around like spreading period to people. I'd just be like, no,
Yeah.
you deserve it. You have to start bleeding.
Yeah. Yeah. Another myth is if you wash your hair during your periods, it'll affect your fertility.
What?
So you're not supposed to wash your periods. Like wash your hair during your periods, or you'll become your fertility will be affected, or you'll get really bad cramps for the entire 5 days or 6 days. So people don't wash their hairs and they don't take bath.
No, that's so unhygienic. That's not.
Yeah.
You should be totally taking showers when you have your period because you're bleeding. The other, I didn't even know about this. This is really strange.
This is,
The other
it
one
is
that
it is a
can't take
popular.
massages when you have your period.
Yeah.
This is so widely spread that I've actually gone to sort of spas where, if Four Fountains and all these other places where if they ask you before you start if you're on your period, because if you are, they don't give you a massage, which I think is ridiculous, because if you read online, like, massages actually help your blood flow. You need a
Yeah.
little more, but that's the one time in the month when you're cramping and you're sore, and if you like massages, then why not get them? Like, I think that's another
Yeah.
not true. I don't think massages make any difference at all.
And like the last taboo that I've heard of is if someone who's on her period touches you, you'll get it too. Like instantly, she touches you, and now you're on your periods.
Really?
How
That's
could
even
that
more
happen?
ridiculous than having sex with
Yeah,
someone with periods.
yeah. So it's like, oh, you're on your periods. Just stay away. Don't touch me.
Wow,
So
no, that's
I don't know.
well, that's not true.
These are the most widely spread taboos. So imagine, I'm not even
These
talking about the
taboos, I
smaller
think one of
ones.
the bigger reasons, like, it actually comes into places because we're not educating people about periods. And when you're not educating,
Exactly.
they're going to sort of, come up with their own theories or ask other people who don't have enough information about it. Like, kids talk to each other at school, or they'll ask a girl who has a periods by then. And
Yeah.
then it's like Chinese whisper. You're spreading things that no one really knows.
Exactly. That is what happens actually. It was started because people wanted women to rest because they're bleeding, but now it has become, I don't know what. In India, it is a bad place to have good advice because it's a game of Chinese whispers, and then it becomes something completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I think, as someone mentioned in the comments as well, one of the things that is, I think maybe the whole shower thing did come from the fact that, when you are in the water, like, even if you take a bath, like, you stop bleeding for that amount of time.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
strangely, people would have, like, sort of linked the like your blood flow being less while you're in water to maybe your fertility. I don't know. It's a very strange one.
I'm
Why people?
I'm not sure about it because as much as I've researched and we have had talks with gynecologists, that is not a true thing. Maybe it happens for some people,
What, the water?
but then it's not a widely. Yeah, it does not happen.
Really? So suppose you're You're saying it doesn't happen to everyone, where when you're underwater, like you stop bleeding?
No,
Sorry.
no, no. Someone, like, if you pour water on your head, we had a comment right there, and it said
Ah,
if you pour water on your head, your like uterus, something like that. So it does not happen actually. I've never heard of it.
yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Right. So lastly,
myths and like taboos and like people without actual, like, proper knowledge. I think that's why it's important to talk to doctors, or have
yeah,
I mean, even in that sense, I guess, like, even parents educating their kids isn't enough, because if you don't have enough information, that's the most you can pass on to your children.
yeah. And the one thing I feel we should do is talk about periods. If we want to normalize it, we just need to talk about it. That is all,
Yeah.
and it will be normal itself. Yeah.
I mean, definitely. One
So
basic
I
thing is like talk about periods, and like do your research, read, talk to doctors. Don't. I think the one thing that women need to start doing as well is to stop being ashamed of it. Stop being embarrassed of having periods, because there's only that much that men could talk if women themselves aren't talking about it. So it has to be like a
yeah.
effort from both, I guess. Men need to be more curious and less disgusted, but women have to stop being so embarrassed. I still have friends who'll be like, "Do you have a tampon?" And I'm like, "Why are we still whispering about tampons? I have a tampon." I actually took it out once in a rickshaw because my nose was bleeding, and I was just like, "I don't have anything to put a tampon."
That's really hilarious. But yeah, it's normal. I don't know. But like coming to an end, we are glad that we had this chat with you, and I feel anyone who was there who heard us, please talk about periods. Please ask questions, and there's nothing to hide,
Yeah.
right? And it would be a great
Yeah, there's
pleasure
absolutely
if you'll
nothing
just
to
talk.
hide when it comes to that.
Yeah. So I would like ask you to please ask your followers, like everyone who's there, to support us. Just check out the link. It's up to you. You could donate sanitary pads or monetary supplies. It's up to you, right? You can DM us. We'll let you know how you can donate the sanitary pads. For the monetary supplies, the link is in our bio. And Saloni, please, if you could ask them to support our
Definitely.
hashtag end
Anyone
period
that's in
poverty.
live right now, go check out Womanite. They talk about some very important things. If